Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, president of Trident Concepts, and today I'd like to talk to you about comfort while carrying concealed. In our classes, that's the most important thing that I try to get across to people, is that you need to be comfortable. And we're not just talking about physically being comfortable, we're talking about emotionally being comfortable. So one of the things that I've observed is that what are some barriers to entry with regards to carrying on a more frequent basis? When I talk to a lot of folks that have just started the LTC process and they get their license, and I ask them, hey, are you carrying on a regular basis? The most common response that I get is that they are not, because they don't feel comfortable. There's a lot of reasons for their uncomfort, but one of the things that I've tried to illustrate or tried to understand is what are the main reasons, and there's three that I can tell. The first one is that in some cases they just can't carry because their workplace is a prohibitive environment, so they can't carry a gun inside of there, and so as a result they decide not to carry a gun at all. And that's unfortunate because they still have to contend with the commute to and from work, which is still a possibility. And now that the laws are set where the employers cannot prohibit you from storing a firearm in your vehicle, it may not be the best scenario for you, but it's still something that's viable. Then the next obstacle is not really fully understanding the law. And that's a really tough one to crack because most of the time people are going to just back away. I don't understand any of this, so I'm not going to put myself in jeopardy. And I think that's great, because if you're not fully committed to understanding the law, then maybe that is your best choice. But let's talk about what is the negative outcome from that, the negative consequences. Well, if you choose not to carry, you're still potentially putting yourself in harm's way, but now you have no way to defend yourself or your family. So I don't necessarily agree with that outcome. What I feel is better is for you to start to learn about the law, and that's sometimes tricky. There's plenty of resources that are out there that help the layman to understand that, but I tell people that it's reasonable in a sense. It's reasonable for you to go out there and learn a little bit more about the law. That's going to help promote a little bit more comfort level. And then the last one is physically being comfortable when you're carrying out in the real world. And there's a lot of things that go into this, and I talk about the three most important things. Number one, you have to think about the gun that you're going to carry, and not necessarily like, did I choose the right gun? More importantly is, does this gun suit my lifestyle? Because what we don't want is, we don't want people to buy a gun and try to dress around it. That's never going to work. You're going to be able to do that maybe for a week, a month, tops, and then after that it's going to get old real fast. And then what's going to happen? People are not going to want to carry from there. So that's a big mistake. Don't dress around the gun. Instead, what you've got to do is you've got to look at your lifestyle and figure out, what can I do to best support my armed lifestyle? How can I do this? And a lot of times it's not just about the gun selection, it's about the holster selection, it's about holster positioning. There's a whole slew of things out there. But what I encourage people to do is start. You've got to step forward. You've got to start to do something. And the best way to do that is just to experiment in your own home. So grab a holster, grab your gun, make sure it's unloaded, and start carrying it in your home. There's no reason why you can't do that. If you still don't feel comfortable about going out in the public, not a problem. Leave it at home. Work every time that you're at home to add to your comfort level by carrying it more often. So those are kind of like the three areas that we talk about. Number one is maybe you can't carry because, and maybe I'm lucky that I live in such a gun-friendly state, but maybe you don't. And so maybe it's not just about your workplace, but maybe it's about the entire opportunity to carry, because it's a may issue state, in which case you're possibly screwed in that case. The second part is just knowing the law. Learning a little bit more about it can go a long way, particularly learning about what would happen to you should you have to use your firearm in a self-defense setting. And then the third one is being comfortable when you're carrying. Because if you're not comfortable when you're carrying, a couple things. If it's physically discomforting, you're probably not going to do it. Then as you gain in comfort, you're going to gain in confidence, and that confidence is going to travel with you out into the real world, and that's what's going to help you feel more comfortable. So a lot of things go into this. It's one of these, it's a little bit of art with a little bit of science. I favor more of the art side of it because everybody's different body styles, different body requirements, different needs. So I feel like this is more art than science, and as a result, it's a little bit more individual. So if you have questions or comments, please feel free to post them down below. Until then, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. Take care and stay safe.